Hello everyone, good day and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda. Let's try and get out the wind. At this time of year, if you're an allotmentier like me, there's several jobs that you need to address. It's a matter of maintenance and preparation for the growing season. There are several structures on this plot, on these two plots that I've got, that require maintenance. And it's essential really, because if you don't do it, then eventually they'll fall down and you won't have your beautiful trampoline framed polytunnels like I've got here. They'll disappear in the end because you've not maintained them properly. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to have a quick look round and make an assessment of the jobs to do, make a to-do list. And I'm going to record that so that I can write it up later when I get back to the homestead. But yeah, I'll take you around. We'll have a walk around the plots and just check out what the situation is as regards to maintenance operations that we need to get done, tasks we need to do. Let's get on with that. Let's go. Okay, what better place to start than the super duper Tiki Hut, which is at the front of my plot on the lane facing side. We've got the Tiki Hut, which is the shed that I built about 3 years ago now, from scratch, on the foundations. The foundations are the breeze block foundations, and that's a really solidly built shed, that. But if anything's going to go, it's going to be on the roof. The roof is the main protection for the shed, obviously. Keeps the weather out, doesn't it? So let's take a look. I'm going to set the ladders up, go up top, and we'll check the situation. Okay, so we're up on the roof, and at first inspection, it's looking pretty good. Motorbikes in the distance there, boys and girls, I'm sorry about that. But it's looking pretty good. What I will do this year is where these pieces meet, you've got the edge in there. As you can see, it's all stapled down, and it's had a sort of a tar paint over it when it was initially done. I'm going to redo that with the tar paint, so that's the only thing I'm going to do to this roof, you know, the main body of the roof, where these little bits of, there's a little bit of damage. I'll fill those in with the tar paint and roller that on and seal it. Probably use about 10 quid's worth of that, £10 sterling of that. But moving down to work, it does fall off. There's about a 2% decline down in this direction, so that all the water on the roof will flow in this direction and go into the gutter. That was the plan, and it has worked for the last 3 years. But there's a bit of the felting, the roofing felting, that's been blown away by the wind and torn. So I'm going to have to replace that section and make sure that it does flow and drop into the gutter. So that's something I'm going to have to sort out. So I'm going to have to sort that out. Also, the pelmets around the perimeter, they need painting again. We're going to be using the forest green for that. So I'll need to get some forest green paint. I'll need to get some of the sort of bitumen paint, tar, and redo the seams on that. Give these a bit of a clean. These two 200 watt solar panels, they'll need a bit of a clean. Yeah, but apart from that, that's the roof. I think that's okay. Okay, now that might not look too bad actually, the paint that's on the shed at the moment, but I'm going to need to give it 2 extra coats of the Ronseal red cedar paint. That stuff, the 1 coat. We've got another tub of that inside the shed as well. And I'm going to go around any bits that were missed last time, like we can see here. They'll be getting done. It looks a bit threadbare in places, doesn't it? So yeah, the prevailing winds and rain come in this direction. You can perhaps hear the wind now. So yeah, we're going to give this a good coat, get the forest green around the pelmets and the details. Yeah, 2 coats of that. And the same can be said for the gate and fencing. We do these every year, but the weather takes its toll and we need to maintain them and keep on top of them. That's where we had the break in that. So yeah, we'll be doing the fences. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels to be done. They're relatively straightforward. We'll just put a plastic sheet down in front, lift them out, put them on, paint them both sides, give them 2 coats again. Because Joel's showing me up here, look, he's done these. These have been maintained and these have been painted this year. He always does them inside the greenhouse, but we'll just be lifting them out when we get a decent day's weather. We're lifting them out, painting them, and then popping them back in once they're dried off. And that's for both sides, obviously. Weeding regime. Now I'm going to allocate 2 hours per week per plot. We've got 2 plots. This is the lady farmer's side and this is my side, the original plot. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of grasses and other weeds growing. Hiya Tony. So yeah, we're going to have to keep on top of that. Starting next week, we're going to do 2 hours on this side and 2 hours on the other side, just to keep on top of it, just to maintain it. Okay, next up we're going to check out our growing beds, starting with the sectional beds. Right, so that end piece has come away. The actual board on the end is rotted. The ones that are actually running in the parallel, the long ones, seem okay. If you look at the ends of them, they seem all right, but they're going to get painted once we've got the replacement section put back in. So I'll scrape away there, put another section back in and screw it in. So I'll need to get my drill driver down for that and a saw, and we'll get something sorted with that. We've got panels, a panel missing from this one as well, the deep potato bed at the front, in front of the Tiki Hut. That one's replacing. There it is actually, to replace it, but there'll be a little bit of maintenance required on that. We'll get that sorted, so that's 2. Alright, happily, all the other beds were fine. All the other sectional beds and raised beds were fine. So that's good. So let's check out now our polytunnels and greenhouses. This is the 4mm clear twin wall polycarbonate greenhouse that I created as the first structure about 5 years ago when we got the plot. So all we'll be doing with this one is we'll be washing everything down once the water gets put back on, which I think is in about 3-4 weeks time actually. Once the water's put back on, we're going to get the hose pipe, get the high pressure on it, blast everything down, clear out the gutters, because we've got gutters either side that lead down into water drums on the ends. We'll wash all that down, clear it all out, and then we can paint it. So this is going to be a job for probably the end of March, to repaint all this. It was all painted on the inside, on the superstructure of it, and then on the outside it hasn't been painted, so this is going to need a coat of paint. It's all pressure treated wood that it was created with, but as you can see, it needs a bit of a lick of paint, doesn't it? So we're going to do that again with a red cedar, and we'll touch everything up. So I'll have to move these barrels out of the way, clear this section off, and that's another job to maintain and tidy at the back of this. So that needs to be done. Same with the compost corral over there, that needs a lick of paint as well. So we'll do that. Moving on to Tiki Tunnel number 1. Same story here. This needs painting. I need to check where these seals are as well. This will need to be replaced. So we'll have to take that out and put another shelf in. Yeah, so that needs to be done. So that all needs to be painted on the externals, not so much on the internals because they don't get the weather, but the external parts of it, yep, we do. And all I need to do inside here is tidy up, so that's probably going to be about 2 hours of a job to tidy up in here. It's going to be a couple of hours of a job to give this a couple of coats of paint as well on the outside where the timbers are. Oil up these hinges. Yeah, maybe take a wire brush to them, clean them up a bit, and see if we can oil those up. WD-40 just removes the moisture from them, but you need to put some sort of an engineering oil on them just to keep them loose and keep the moisture out, stop them rusting, because otherwise I'll end up replacing these. This has been up again, it's been up for about 3 years now, this. A good 2.5 years I bet, this. And it's standing the test of time. There's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with the sheeting, that's all in good condition, it's fine. I think I spotted one little hole there, which was probably from an air rifle pellet. I'm naming no names, but it's a wayward air rifle pellet, that, I'm guessing, it's caused that. But looking around, there's no real rot setting in anywhere, but it does need, as long as you maintain it, it should last a good long time, this. I'm hoping that this lasts about 20 years. And it should do if it's maintained alright, so that's another job. So yeah, it's probably going to be a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, just to keep on top of that. Tiki Tunnel 2, this. Lady Farmer's side. That's all fine. I've had a look round it, there's nothing wrong with it, but it does need to be painted, so we'll be painting the externals again with a red cedar. No tears or holes in it, which is fantastic. That's fine, that's good. Belting, nothing needed really. We're going to be putting or sinking a water drum into to catch the water, and we're going to have to put the another gutter on this side. Again, I'll need me drill driver for that. But we've got the gutter's here, we've got the components to slot it all together. There's the gutter, we've got the brackets and everything to put it on, so that's going to be all right. It's a matter of cleaning it down, tarting it up. This shed needs to have felting, so we'll do that. We'll get the felting put on, so it'll be a strip of felt across there and then another strip of felt over the apex. Again, it's probably going to be wallop nailed on. I may well do the bitumen paint on it as well to act as an adhesive when we're putting the felt on it. Yeah, and it needs to be completed really with it. I'm sort of in two minds as to whether or not to get another shed to replace that one, because it's getting a bit battered and bruised now. It's been probably up for about 20 odd years, that shed, and it's not in the best of nick. There's no windows in it or anything either, so I might well replace that and get a fresh shed, build a fresh one, but we'll see about that. Onto the greenhouse. The traditional glass greenhouse on the Lady Farmer's side. I'm looking around it, it's not too bad, but what I will be doing is getting some twin wall polycarbonate and replacing. There's one window that's been bust out with the winds, so that's going to be replaced, and I think I might well replace that with a full panel of the 4mm twin wall polycarbonate stuff, because it's easier to fit, it's lighter, it's more robust, doesn't tend to break. Eventually all of this will be replaced with a twin wall polycarbonate, so I think you can only get it in like batches of 10 packs of 10, 4 foot by 2 foot. So I might well do that. I might well start to replace these and then build perhaps some cold frames with the glass that we've got left over when I take the glass out. Yeah, so that's one of the plans for this season. Also, clear out and J's fluid in there. Get the J's fluid, clean all the glass out. As I say, I'll need to replace a few of these, so I'm going to order some when I get paid next week. I'll order some of that clear wall polycarbonate, and then we'll clean it all up, replace what needs to be replaced, and that'll be maintained nice and bonny. That we'll retain these clips and these little hangers. We'll retain them to be used when we replace that glass with the polycarbonate. Aside from that, it's weeding. I think that's all we need to be doing now. Plenty of weeding to do. So as I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set aside 2 hours per side per week to maintain that weed situation. It's not looking too bad on my side. There's a little bit of weeding to be done, but it's not looking too bad. This needs doing. So this is all going to come off. This is going to be totally rejigged actually, because we're going to extend it by a couple of feet into this area. We're going to take a couple of feet further that way and then perhaps make one of the netted trampoline frame jobbies that Mick's got down there, make one of them. I've got one hoop, but I'll need a couple more to do that, or at least one more full trampoline to do that, and then we'll get one of those there so you can actually walk in. This is okay if you're a little person. If you're a wee one, that's all right, but when you're an old, nearly 50-year-old bloke like I am, it's a bit hard on the knees, it's a bit awkward to get into. I want a walk-in one, so that's going to be a job for this year, and that'll be a full weekend to get that sorted out and get that set in, and we'll film that as a separate little episode. We'll do that. As you can see there, it's getting knackered, the winds have attacked it, that's blown into it and split it. And I was going to do it anyway this year, so that'll need to be sorted out, obviously, massively weeded, etc. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so when we put the path in here, we continued the path on and we put this path in here a few weeks ago. It's created a bit of a mess, a bit of a mound, so that all needs to be sorted out. We've got these fence bases and flags, paving slabs, they're going to be adjusted, moved, and it's going to be levelled off down there, so we're going to get all that done and make it into a proper pathway, and we're going to remove all the detritus and weeds that are left up at the top end. Hopefully we're going to get some more of the wood chip, and I'll put some weed membrane down and throw the wood chip on top of that, just try to keep it nice and level down there. If we can get some more paving slabs, I'll do that. Toby's got some paving slabs. Bedlam's Pilot has got some paving slabs for us, so it'll just be a matter of getting down to there and picking them up from Toby's place to bring them up here. So I probably need about 10 paving slabs altogether to completely finish off up the top end here with the pavers. Well, that's going to again be probably a weekend's worth of work, that. Okay, so now I've got my allotment here log of things to do. I can make a written checklist of that and work my way through it, allocate hours for it to be done and times for it to be done, and then over the next month, hopefully, we'll get them all ticked off in March. And then for April, so January, February, March, April's your main month really for getting the seeds off and running, getting the planting done. It'll all be ready, it'll all be prepared for that. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do in March, so keep growing with your heads down, brothers and sisters, and I'll see you later on. We love you all. Take care, and may your God go with you. Ta-ra now.